So this is a proof of life video. If you're watching this, please send $10 million to the Jellystone RV Park, somewhere southwest of Chicago, Illinois. Hey guys, I figured I would do a video today because why the hell not? I don't really have a whole bunch else to do today. So I decided, hey, I have in fact not done any kind of video at all in a pretty long time. It's been since Montrose. So when I was in Montrose, Colorado, I did a little video talking about Silicon Trailer. And wow, Montrose has been a little while ago. It's funny, like when you start traveling and you stop worrying about things like the work week, it's amazing how fast time goes. Because we were in Montrose, Colorado for like 8 days, and then we were in Denver, Colorado for 9 days, and then we were in Lincoln, Nebraska for 4 days, and then we've been here for a day. So I don't think I have done any video whatsoever, in like 3 weeks probably. Wow. So you may be wondering, Eli the computer guy, what exactly are you doing now? And what I will tell you is, I really don't have any idea, to be honest with you. It's just one of those things. It's weird how when you break out of the cycle that you're in, like you have this cycle, right? And who knows how you create the cycle. You get a girlfriend, you get married, you get a house, you pay a mortgage, you pay your rent, you have a job, or you have a business, and you just get into this little cycle. And you keep doing what you did yesterday, today, and tomorrow because that's what you did yesterday. Why am I doing what I'm doing? Because I did this yesterday. Why will I do it tomorrow? Again, because I did it yesterday. You just keep going because of inertia. And the funny thing is once you break that inertia, it's amazing how everything kind of goes. So we've been out here on the road now for, I guess, a little over 3 months. And yeah, I don't know. It's just one of those things, like we're out here on the road having fun, enjoying ourselves. And I'm still doing little technical things, but I just haven't been overly motivated to do this whole video thing, to continue with the YouTube stuff. Originally, when I came out on the road, I planned to be doing this thing called Failed Normal, where I was going to be talking about all the places that we were going to. Oh, but then, there were issues with how I could upload videos. There were problems with that. And so then, I don't know, I just kind of got discouraged. Haven't done a Fail Normal video since like Pensacola, Florida, something like that. I actually had videos for that literally just got thrown in the trash bin because I realized I wasn't able to upload them. So anyway, while I'm on the road right now, I'm not going to be doing classes, I doubt. Maybe I will in the future. Right now, I don't think I'm going to be doing classes, at least for the foreseeable. Mainly for no other reason than, honestly, I think other people do classes better than I do at this point. When I started this project like 5.5 years ago, I was kind of the only one out there. Like Lynda.com was out there. But that was all like creative type of videos. Final Cut Pro, Adobe Creative Suite, that kind of stuff. After that, there were companies like CBT Nuggets. They were out there. Knowledge.net, they were out there. But that was kind of like the green screen capture type videos. There really weren't a lot of like personal, talky training videos. It was still, 5.5 years ago, it was still the bright new world of online video training that was worth anything. And now, but 5.5 years later, things have changed. So, we've got Udacity out there. We just got a whole bunch of options out there. And I look at it, I was looking at Udacity the other day. Udacity has some really good classes. Let me tell you, you look at the production quality and the quality of Udacity classes, and wow, that's really good. That's some really good stuff right there. So, I'm looking around at the whole video training thing, and two things. One, there's just a lot more options out there that are better than they used to be. And also, I'm I'm kind of running to the end of my personal knowledge base and what is actually valuable in the modern world. Again, as I've said, you know, my skill set really is a systems administration type thing in one fashion or another. You know, client server architecture, however you may or may not define client server. You have devices that communicate back to a server, and then you have another device that communicates to the server, and you get that communication all up and running. And that's what I know. Telephone systems or surveillance systems or servers or all that kind of stuff. But again, as I've said, the world has changed. The world has changed massively. That stuff is just not that valuable anymore. It really isn't. I know it really pisses people off when I say it, but it's not. I'm looking at all these options out there, and just the whole systems administration thing. Again, like I say, what I really know from a technical standpoint just isn't that valuable. I was looking at I mean, you think about this. You think about where the modern world is. I was doing some research. So I am doing geekbraindump.com. So I'm writing for geekbraindump.com. And so I do research when I'm writing for Geek Brain Dump. And there was this thing called AWS Lambda. LAMBDA, I think it is, Lambda. Go take a look at that. If that is not the future of just infrastructure, I don't know what is. AWS Lambda is this really awesome thing. It's event-triggered compute cycles. It's not that you don't worry about the box, the server. You don't worry about the virtual machine. You don't worry about the Docker. You don't worry about any of that crap, right? So AWS Lambda is really cool from a technical standpoint, but also means like, where the hell's our jobs, right? But anyways, AWS Lambda is event triggered compute. So what happens is, let's say you have you're using Amazon Web Services, and so I think it's S3, whatever, wherever your storage bucket is, right? So what you can do is you can have, when something happens to your storage bucket, that will trigger a script in either Node.js or Java to trigger compute to happen. So let's say you're going to come up with an app. You're going to come up with the next Instagram or something, right? And so whenever anybody drops a picture into your storage bucket, you want that to be compressed because people upload pictures that are way too big for what you want to do. What you can have happen is, as soon as that storage bucket recognizes that something has been dumped into it, that triggers a compute cycle so that a script is run to compress whatever that picture is and dump it back in. So that's what event-triggered compute cycles are. It's basically the idea that, you know, whenever something happens on one of your systems, that will trigger a script, and then you only pay for the actual compute time that you need. Awesome. But how do you administer that? That's not administered. That's just a system that works, and you don't deal with it. You script for it. You build infrastructure for it, but you don't worry about that system. I don't even know what that system is. You're like, what is Lambda? Right? You know, you're used to talking about Windows or Mac or Linux. You're used to talking about distributions of Linux or Unix. But I don't even know what Lambda is. Lambda is just literally compute. You don't worry about the hardware. You don't worry about the OS. You don't worry about the distribution. You just got compute. And again, right? And so this is what I'm saying, like I say, for a lot of the stuff that I train you guys in, it's all systems administration of some sort. And just systems administration nowadays, like I said, meh. And so there's lots of good classes out there for all this programming stuff. But as I've said, programming is just not my deal. I mean, I know what Node.js is. Please don't make me program in it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know what Java is. I can tell you a lot of business rationale for why you use one or the other. But like actually coding in it, I don't have that skill set. So that's one of the reasons I'm kind of shying away from the whole class thing. And again, and like with the classes, even the systems administration stuff, it's just so complicated anymore. Like, how do you explain Hadoop? How do you explain Docker? You know, back in the day, 5 years ago, right? I could explain to you guys Windows Small Business Server, and you'd be like, damn right, that's the coolest thing in the world, and you go and deploy Windows Small Business Server. I explain something like Hadoop to you. How many people in the world need to actually deploy Hadoop? Or Docker? Docker is amazing. Linux containers? Awesome. How many people need to deploy Linux container? That many, right? And so that's the issue with classes. And then the other thing with what I was also doing is like with answering your guys' questions and all that, and kind of the back and forth. I don't know. I just kind of get tired of that personal back and forth, to be honest with you. And interestingly enough, it's not the trolls. You know, whenever we talk about like social networking, we talk about YouTube, everybody always complains about the trolls. And so it's made out to be the trolls are what are destroying YouTube, and trolls are what make all this stuff so horrible. What I find as a professional person, it's actually not the trolls that are so bad. Trolls are really easy to deal with. Basically, you create blacklists for words, and you ban people. Again, I found as soon as I added a Jew to my blacklist, I cleaned up my comment. My comments are beautiful now. I don't know what it is. I'm not Jewish. I don't have anything against Jewish people. I'm not one. My name is just Eli. My family is literally Midwest. They're probably a whole bunch of corn stalks or something. Anyways, so dealing with trolls is actually easy. But one of the problems I've been running into, like with dealing with the whole interpersonal thing, is, oh my God, you should see the sob stories that I get. Again, trolls are easy to deal with. Trolls, you can hate trolls, or you can ignore trolls, you can ban trolls. Trolls are just a pain in the ass. And you just deal with. One of the issues that I've run into, though, is so many comments, like this whole personal thing where people give me all these really sob stories. I mean, like sad stories. I don't even want to say sob, because when you say sob stories, it means like you're just, I mean, these are sad stories, right? You know, I have a kid on the way. I have 3 kids. I'm in poverty. I'm on food stamps. I'm in a country that should get bulldozed. I mean, it's just like really sad story. And all these people come, and there's like this idea. There's this idea that technology will be your salvation. You know, the technology professions shall save you. And then everybody is so disappointed when I explain to them that's not really the case. As a technology professional, you are the salvation. The profession is not the salvation, right? You are the person that comes in and has to solve the problem for the other poor schmucks. You know what I'm saying? This is not a nice profession. This is not a kind profession. This is a brutish. I was thinking about that the other day. Like, is it a brutal profession? And I would say it's not a brutal profession. It is a brutish profession. It just is, just to the core of its being. And one of the issues, you know, talking back and forth on these videos is it's just, it's so sad. And you just see like people so hurt. They're like, I want to know how I can save myself using technology as a career. And it's like, yeah, you're screwed. I feel bad for you, but you're screwed. You have no money in your bank account. You have no resources you can lean back on. You don't know anybody in the tech world. You don't know any of that kind of stuff. You don't know this profession. You don't have any experience. You're in a place that's basically crapville, and you can't leave it. Getting your MCSE is not going to change anything. You know what I'm saying? You can't even afford your MCSE for a lot of these people. And so dealing with that kind of stuff, that's just kind of a bummer. Again, like I said, well, you have to understand, like whenever you see me on these videos and I'm all snarky or whatever, that is how our profession is, right? This is a pissing contest. You know what I'm saying? This is a pissing contest, and you better come with your super soaker. It is. I mean, it is. You get 5 geeks around a table that actually have a vested interest in the project, and it is just brutish. It's a pissing contest. Everybody comes out soaked. But that's what's fun. That's what's fun. You get 5 people around the table that think they are just God's gift to humanity, all arguing for what they believe in. That is so cool. That is so cool. But these are people with balls of steel, or Thatchers of steel if you're a female. You know what I'm saying? These are people that their egos are just so massive, but a lot of times also so deserved. And so you get into the middle of that, and yeah, it's a pissing contest, and yeah, it's egotistical, and yeah, there's snotty, snarky, horrible crap that's tossed around. But at the end of it, you actually come out generally with a decent idea of a plan. And you go and you build something really impressive, right? But that's the thing, is that's what I'm used to. Is I'm used to sitting down with professionals that have been in this field for however long. And you go back and forth and you say whatever the fuck comes to your head. And everybody comes out and shakes hands and walks away smiling, right? I mean, you say some horrible stuff. horrible stuff, right? But everybody walks away smiling, right? Because we all know why we're here. We are here to deploy technology. We are here to do awesome things. And really all that matters at the end of the day is the awesomeness. Your feelings don't matter. My feelings don't matter. Their feelings don't matter. What do you build? You build something awesome. That's all that matters. That is all that matters at the end of the day. But the problem is, like I say, going back and forth to so many of these noobs, they don't get that. They don't even understand it. Well, I mean, they shouldn't even be in this profession. Most of these folks shouldn't be anywhere near this profession. Because that's the thing, is because their feelings all get hurt. And what you have to understand is, like, I don't mind being snarky. It's fun to be snarky. It is fun to get into a pissing contest with fellow professionals. That's just an awesome time. It's just a great time, right? And like sometimes, like somebody lays an insult on you that's so horrible, and you sit there for a moment, and you go, oh, damn, I need to write that down, right? Because you're like, wow, this guy's so smart. He insulted me like that. I need to remember that insult. That was a good insult. Because it's pride of craft, it's pride of profession. But you get in all these little people that don't even belong in this profession to begin with. And then it becomes what is screwing around for professionals just becomes kind of cruel when you bring these other people in. And again, like I say, it shouldn't be here. And like I say, I mean, I get so many of these comments, and they're like, you know, I wanna be a penetration test. That's fucking stupid. Like, do you have a top secret security clearance? Were you prior service military? Do you have a massive mathematics background? Do you have a PhD? No. Well, you're not gonna be fucking penetration. It's stupid to even think you're gonna be a penetration tester. You're being mean. No, it wasn't being mean. I'm sorry. I thought you were a professional. This is how I would talk to a professional, but I apologize. I did not realize. You're just whiny, right? And so that's what I'm finding too. So the class video thing is kind of like a bummer in that, just because my expertise is kind of, I'm kind of getting to the end of my expertise. I'm teaching you guys that kind of stuff. It's not that I'm getting to the end of my expertise. It's just because it's coming to the end of the value of that, and all these other new videos, classes out there are awesome. I mean, seriously, go take a look at Udacity. I was at Udacity the other day. It made me want to cry. I was just like, wow. You know, in order to compete, yeah, I'm just not competing against them. You just go there, and like I say, if you want to learn front-end development or back-end development or this development or artificial intelligence, it's just like, there are all these classes there, and they're done well. And then doing the videos, like I say, where I communicate with you guys more one-on-one-ish. You know, like I say, that's just kind of sad because everybody gets their feelings hurt. And I'm like, that just pisses me off. So yeah, that's why I'm kind of like bummed on the whole video thing. What I'm kind of thinking about doing with these videos right now then is my idea. So what I'm doing right now is I'm doing geekbraindump.com. So if you haven't followed the last video I put out, geekbraindump.com is the website I created a little over a year ago. Originally, the idea was for user-generated content. Well, that was a miserable disaster unto itself. But what I did is I kind of resurrected geekbraindump.com, and now I'm writing all posts for geekbraindump.com. I like writing posts for geekbraindump.com because I can go out and I can research interesting topics in technology. I can tell you guys, I can write about it. I can actually upload the content very easily using a crappy little LTE connection if I need to. And then, like I say, there's just not that personal thing, that back and forth. I mean, you're not gonna feel like I'm insulting you if I tell you what AWS Lambda is, I don't think. And so basically that's kind of like where my attention is kind of focused professionally, is doing that. And there's also a couple of other things, like from a business standpoint, I've been looking at. One of the things to think about if you're thinking about doing YouTube videos and you're a real business person, is that YouTube videos is a horrible business. YouTube is just not a place to build your business off of. And actually, YouTube actually even says that. Like, if you listen to YouTube says that. I've been muddling around with it for a couple of 5 and a half years, because it's made me a decent amount of money. But again, at the end of the day, one of the things you have to think about is, you know, there's a dollar today versus the dollar 10 years from now. One of the issues with YouTube is you can't scale it. It's almost impossible to scale because why people listen to people or watch videos who the hell knows why? And like a little bit of it is how they present themselves. A little bit of it is what material they're presenting. And then a whole bunch of it is magic. Like, why do you guys watch me 400,000 minutes every day? I don't know. You know, that sounds very like, ooh, look, let's pat me on the back. But remember, I'm basically a business guy. So not only do I want to see that I can make money, but I want to see that I can scale that. How do I clone me? I mean, business is about scale. It's about clonability. So the idea in business is I do the work now so that I can figure out the process. And then once I figured out the process, I can basically take that process and just dump it on somebody else, and they can go from there. So like if you look at geekbraindump.com right now, I'm writing posts, and Martin Lehner is writing posts. And realistically, you know, writing posts for a blog is pretty easy. I mean, we've gone back and forth with some editing and all that, some rules, but it's pretty simple, right? This is how you write posts. Whereas with video, again, how do you know? As I've talked about before, there are a lot of people that create videos out there that I think do very, very good jobs of creating video, but then their stats are like this compared to mine. And as I've said, I don't get it. It's not that I mean, I always think that I'm cool and all, but really, when you look at it from a business standpoint, why am I so much better than they are? Again, like I say, especially when you take a look at things like revenue, how much money I'm bringing in for the number of views I get, yeah. It's all a mess. So what I'm thinking here is how I'm going to be using the YouTube videos going forward. Short story, very long, is so I'm going and I'm doing all the little posts for geekbraindump.com, right? So I'm writing about this, that, and the other thing. The cool part is, since I'm now known as a content creator, people actually know who I am. When I go to different areas, I can now get interviews and such with people in those areas, and they're happy to see me. So I was just in Lincoln, Nebraska, emailed the head of the Startup Accelerator in Motion in Lincoln, Nebraska, and basically had lunch with him that day. Oh, it's cool. So I get to go there. I get to learn about what's going on in Lincoln, Nebraska or whatever. And then I get to write about it for geekbraindump.com. So I did a number of posts about Lincoln, Nebraska. Like they do some cool stuff there. Like you can sponsor their co-working facility. So instead of investing in a startup company and having to worry about equity and all that horse crap, you can simply pay for a desk for 6 months. So if you pay $750, you can sponsor a desk at their co-working facility and get your little logo and all that. That means you get to deduct your investment, your payment to the startup as an advertising expense. Startup gets a little bit of money, everybody's happy. So they do interesting things like that. So I learned about that kind of stuff, and I write it in Geek Brain Dump. And so what I'm thinking then, since I'm going out there and I'm dealing with people in the real world, what I'll start doing with this YouTube channel is start talking about these real world concepts that I'm running into. When I go out and I talk with people in the real world, what are they actually dealing with? So like when I was in Lincoln, Nebraska, I got to meet the people at In Motion. When I was in Denver, I did Silicon Trailer, where I had 3 people came on over to the RV park, and I talked with them, and you know the issues that they were dealing with. So you know, one of the guys has been a auto mechanic for 10 years, is going to community college right now to get into IT and programming. So I sat down and I talked with him, and we discussed, you know, from his point of view as somebody who has been a technical professional for 10 years in something else, how do you then migrate and figure out what programming language you want to be on? Another guy I talked to there, coming out with a master's degree in cybersecurity. And again, the first thing that comes out of his mouth is, well, I'm thinking I may want to go into penetration testing. And then I kind of explained to him what a cybersecurity degree is about, other than penetration testing. And so talk about that. Or the other guy actually has a full-fledged consulting company in Denver. And we're talking about some of the business stuff with him. You know, how do you make more money? Because that was one of the things I explained to him, was when you sell projects, you can make a lot more profit than you do time and material, billable hours, right? So when you bill out hourly, you can charge $65 or $100 an hour, right? Yeah, that's not bad. $100 an hour, that sounds good. When you sell projects, you can sell it out at $1,000 an hour. And I know because I've done it, right? Because when you sell a project, you sell a solution. Is this solution worth $10,000 to your company? Yes or no? Like, don't worry about my labor. Don't worry about the hardware. Is a server worth 10, not even a server, is Active Directory, is improved security on your network worth $10,000, is 8 cameras that will be able to record video for 2 months worth $10,000, whatever. And then they say yes, and then you sell it to them, and what they don't even think about is you're making about $1,000 an hour. But one of the things I was talking to this guy about was that in order to sell those big projects, the problem is when you try to sell big projects, it's a big price, right? When you come in for time and material billing, people are going to pay $100 or $200 or $500. They can write a check for that. You don't really have to think about $500 for a business, even $1,000 for a real business. They're going to stroke a check. They're going to write a check. They're going to throw it at you. They may not call you back. They may think you're too damn expensive. But right then and there, you got to make that sale. That's why people do time and material billing. That's why a lot of consultants get really stuck on time and material billing. It's so easy to get paid. I mean, it's just, there's no sales process there. The problem is how you make real money is you sell these $10,000 projects, $20,000 projects, $30,000 projects. The issue there, though, is, is when you're asking somebody to lay out $20,000 or $30,000, they're not going to disagree with you that it's worth that price. It's, do they have $20,000 in the bank account, right? You can't close a sale if the person you're selling to simply doesn't have that amount of money in the bank. So what I was telling this guy about is Marlin Leasing. If you haven't looked at Marlin, Marlin, like the fish, just do a Google search for Marlin Leasing. And I used to use Marlin Leasing, which was awesome, because what you do with Marlin Leasing is you get the client to sign the contract with Marlin Leasing. So basically you sell the equipment. It's kind of like this weird thing, like it's all bureaucratic mess. But instead of you selling the equipment to your client, what happens is the equipment and the installation and all that becomes a possession of Marlin Leasing. Marlin Leasing then leases that to your client for one fixed monthly rate, and then at the end of 3 years, it's a $1 buyout. That's how we had it set up. So the idea is that equipment depreciates for tax purposes. Equipment depreciates every year for up to 3 years. And so at the end of 3 years, there's zero value to it as far as the IRS is concerned. And so what happens is you're leasing the equipment from this company for 3 years, and at the end of it, you buy it out for $1. More or less, it's a payment plan. Why it's a really good payment plan is because you can deduct leasing 100% off your taxes. So one, you go into your client, and instead of your client spending $20,000, one $20,000 check, you get it down to a $500, $300, whatever per month payment for 3 years. Not only do they go down to a payment plan, but then they can deduct that entire amount versus having to depreciate it in IRS, that kind of mess, right? And so that was one of the things I was talking to him about. So that's what I'm kind of thinking about doing with these videos now, is as I go out and about and I'm talking with people and I'm discussing things with people, then coming back and kind of telling you guys about it. Okay, so we're talking with this guy, who is getting a cybersecurity degree. What does that actually mean in the real world? Because I think that is more valuable. I think that's more useful. Because again, all this technical stuff nowadays, there are so many resources, and there really are. The resources that are available weren't as available 5.5 years ago. When I was doing the classes 5.5 years ago, it wasn't bleeding edge. It was still cutting edge. Now they're everywhere, right? And again, yeah, you may have to pay a couple bucks. Oh no, you might have to pay $10 or $20 or $50 per month to access them. Yeah, cry me a river. One of my classes that I attended, that I paid for out of my pocket, cost $3,000. Again, I and other people have spent about $250,000 on the education that I've received. So I can understand if you don't want to pay $20 or $30 or whatever dollars per month for a decent education. On the other hand, I'm not really overly sympathetic about it, right? So yeah, that's what I'm thinking, is going out there and meeting these people in the real world, and then just coming back and discussing with you guys the concepts. Because I think the concepts really are what is becoming far more important than the technology. And really, truly, this is what like real professionals are discussing that you guys don't hear. Is like when I went I was talking with the guys over at InMotion. So InMotion, Nebraska Motion. So InMotion is the startup accelerator in Lincoln, Nebraska. So I was talking to Brian there, the head of InMotion. and we were discussing like minorities and women in the startup community, right, and how to get them in. And like, oh, you know, it's one of those that everybody knows there's a problem, but how do you fix it? You know, do you fix it at the accelerator level? Do you fix it at when they're, you know, preschool? You know, where do you I mean, this, just so any minorities are out there and they're listening, this really is a discussion that people are having, but you please do realize it's also a discussion. Nobody really knows what the answer is. I mean, again, do you do you pump all the money, like, do you pump money into accelerators so they can find women or minority startup people to get more people in, or do you have to pump money in when the kids are 6 years old before they even know what a programmer is, so that they get enough technical chops that by the time they then become 18, they'll be able to get into accelerators on there. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? But we're talking about it. And one of the things that, one of the interesting things that he was saying from his position is that all these new platforms as a service are actually going to bring in more women and minorities, because it's stripping out so much of the technical component, right? Because again, I mean, like, this isn't, this shouldn't be any like mind-blowing race baiting or anything here to say. It's just, you know, white males progressively have been pushed, you know, again, like a lot of the math, a lot of the technology, a lot of the, where other people, not so much. I mean, it just is. I mean, again, like I say, for me, I mean, my father's an industrial safety, PhD level industrial safety engineer. Technology has always been in my world, right? You know, my grandfather, worked at an old cast iron plant, helping design molds and all that kind of stuff. He did well enough to send his kid off, you know, my father off to get a college degree and become a PhD, and then my father, you know what I'm saying? There's this path, you know, take out everything else even. And so one of the things that we're talking about, and so the issue is that a lot of these startups, you need a lot of the technical foundation to be able to launch these things. And you know, when you look at having the technical foundation, you look at having it benefits people that look like me. It just does. And so one of the interesting things is then now as everything's moving to platform as a service, now that technology is just kind of becoming one of those things, it's kind of becoming like typewriters. You just go out and buy a typewriter. You need storage, you just go out and buy storage. You need compute cycles, you just go out and buy compute cycles. You don't have to worry about the data center, you don't have to worry about the servers, you don't have to worry about so much stuff. You go, I'm going to create an app that's going to use compute cycles and storage, and it's going to spit it out to an iPhone. So much of that technical component is now just being aggregated out into this whole whatever, right? And so, like I say, I think that's where more of like these business concepts and things are becoming more and more important. Again, not so much, it's not about even the platforms, it's not about the systems, it's not about TCP/IP 4 versus 6 or any of that kind of stuff. It's you want this solution. How do I grab this bit and this bit and this bit and this bit and I get funding from here and I get this people and then right? That is my thought. If any of that made sense. I'm looking up here, it's like 33 minutes. So that's what I'm thinking. So as I'm going around, writing for geekbraindump.com, meeting all of these people, I'm going to start using the whole Eli, the computer guy channel, more, like I say, to discuss overall concepts. Blanked out. I guess 33 minutes is as long as I can do videos on this. But anyways, but what you really want to do is you want residual. Residual is when the money comes in month after month after month after month after month, almost regardless. So that's what I'm dealing with right now. So I set up my nice little YouTube empire, right? And the money keeps coming in. I was talking to my father about that, like last night. And he was like, how's it going? And I was like, honestly, I think I made $5 less this month than I made like 4 months ago when I was doing videos every day. Because the money just keeps coming in. It's just residual, right? Once you build up that catalog, it just keeps coming in. And so that's, you know, that's like I say, that's where my wife and I looked at it. We looked at her bank account. We looked at all that stuff. And it's like, are we really, is like the next 30 years of our life just going to be sitting here doing the same thing day in, day out? Like, that sounds horrible. That sounds really freaking horrible. So that's why we're just out on the road, traveling. We're fine, we're healthy, doing good. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. This could be interesting. I like the whole idea. Like I said, I've talked about Silicon Trailer before. Again, like I say, just bopping around and seeing different places. And I really like the idea. And so hopefully maybe with these videos, yeah, I can give you guys some interesting stuff. Because again, classes are in the past. And again, like I said, it's something for you guys to understand, like with the tech profession. Again, it's brutish, but it generally shouldn't be mean. I think that's one of the things I found with those videos that I ended up doing. Is that, I mean, they did come off as mean, but it was also because people were just questions were so stupid, right? I mean, you just want to deal with this stuff. I don't know. Kind of blathering at this point, I guess. So anyways, maybe this will keep the videos lighthearted and good, and I can show you guys all the cool stuff, because there's a lot of cool stuff out there, and there's amazing technology going on all kinds of places you wouldn't expect. I mean, like being in Lincoln, Nebraska, talking to those guys. I did some research, and you know, a lot of these people in the startup community, you know, whine and bitch and moan, and they're like, there's no money. Like in Baltimore, everybody talks about there's no investment money in Baltimore. Baltimore sucks. And then you go to Lincoln, Nebraska, and there's this company called Huddle, HUDL, which is one of their startup companies there. It's now like 150 people. It's expanding. It's adding 300 more people in the next year or so. But they just got like $75 million in funding. And what they do is they do video of like sports events for coaches. So like when you're kids in high school or college or whatever, when there's a sports game going on, they can record the video of that game and then give the coaches useful metrics on what's going on, right? And I mean, they're in Lincoln, Nebraska, and they just got $75 million in startup funding. This is real like funding. And let me tell you, I mean, the entire state, like Nebraska is a state of cornfields surrounded by cornfields. Like we're in Chicago right now. So when we left Denver, about 10 miles outside of Denver, it turns into like fields. And it just stays that way all the way now to we're in like Chicago. So we have basically driven somewhere on the order of about 1,000 miles of cornfields. And Lincoln, Nebraska is in the middle of that. And their startup can get $75 million in actual funding. So that's kind of my hope with doing these little videos here, just explaining to you guys how the real world is. Because again, so many people are like, oh, Eli, you don't understand. Maybe you can do that in Baltimore. Maybe Baltimore is so cool you can be successful. But where I am, it's really bad here. And it's like, yeah, you know what? If you're going to be successful, you basically can be successful anywhere. Maybe you need a little poking, a little prodding, a little motivation, but yeah. So that'll be what I do with these videos, kind of try to show you the wider world of what is going on. Because I think that'll be useful, and I think that will be valuable, and it's something that I can do, and I like to do. There we go. So anyways, I've been blathering at this thing for like 38 minutes now. I wonder how many people have watched the entire thing. Probably a lot of you. That's what I found. Like a lot of you are like addicted. That's bizarre. You know, it's like, you know what? It's very bizarre to find out people are addicted to watching you yourself. You know what I'm saying? I've gotten like all these messages and emails. Where are you? I need another video. And like, down. So anyways, so yeah, I'm going to start doing these videos like this. I think this is how we're going to go. And then what I'll do is I'll just put them on like a little schedule. And that should make everybody happy. There's one thing in the YouTube world, if you're going to do YouTube videos, is nobody likes you to publish a lot of videos at one time. I don't know why. Everybody just bitches and whines and moans and complains. Like if you publish 10 videos in the same day, everybody loses their mind. You lose subscribers when you do that. But the problem that I'm running into is the internet connection is so sporadic and crappy with all these RV parks I go to. A lot of times, I basically have to upload all my videos at once. I go 3 weeks with essentially no internet connection. And then one night, I'll be able to upload 30 gigs of video. So what I think I'm going to be doing then is I'll do these videos and then I'll put them on a schedule. Maybe Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And then they'll automatically publish. So that means I can upload them all at one time, and then I can spread them out through auto-publishing, and then people will still bitch, whine, and moan, but I don't know. But that's kind of the plan. That is kind of the plan. But yeah. Any of you guys are thinking about hopping, leaving it all and hopping in a travel trailer and a truck, let me tell you, it is a really nice life. It really is. Like, we're out here and it is really good. It's so cool. Like, you get bored and you just hook up your little travel trailer and you drive to a new location. Again, we spent, like, what's cool about like how we're living our life right now is, I mean, we were at the Grand Canyon for like 8 days. And the only reason we left the Grand Canyon after 8 days is we were bored. That's what's so cool about this kind of lifestyle, because a lot of people, right, you know, you go to the Grand Canyon, we saw a lot of people going to Grand Canyon, they literally go there for a day. You go to most people go to the Grand Canyon, they walk along the little rim trail or whatever, they take their pictures and then they leave. They go to the Grand Canyon is mind-blowing, and they go there for a few hours. The cool part about living life this way is we go there for 8 days. So, you know, one day we go walk along the rim trail, the next day we bike, the next day, you know, we go down into the mountain. I mean, I did like 6 days of like brutal hiking in Grand Canyon. You can just do it. We could spend a month there if we wanted to. So this is the way to go. Like, any of you guys, I know I get into your guys' heads, some of your guys' heads every once in a while. So let me tell you, if you're doing the type of business, like you're a programmer, let's say you're a contract programmer, or you're a content creator like me, you've never thought about this RV life, really got to think about the RV life, because it's cool. It really is. Like, it's really amazing. You come out here, really great people, really nice people. There are RV parks everywhere. Like, I didn't realize that. Especially coming from the East Coast. You don't really think about RV parks a lot, right? That's where poor people go. You know? But you go out here, and what you find out is a lot of people do this. And again, they do it full time. So we were in Denver. You could actually be in Denver, essentially in Denver, in the RV park. Like, Denver had like 10 RV parks. You know, being down in Grand Canyon, there are lots of RV. All these places, there's just a crap ton of RV parks. There's RV parks outside of Seattle. There's RV parks outside of San Francisco. There's RV parks outside of Portland, Oregon. And they're all just really nice places. And you just come here, and there's good people. And there's people that everybody just lives a much different, more relaxed lifestyle. Because what you don't realize is there's a lot of people, this is what they do. Like, I know a lot of you guys think I'm somehow strange doing this, but our last neighbors, so we're not last neighbors, but when we were in Denver, so we spent 9 days beside this couple, they've been doing this for 16 years. Like, there are people that are doing what we're doing. They literally just live off the RV. And they're not, like, whenever you think about that, whenever I used to think about that, you think about, like, old people, like all these little geezers. And so that's, when we first were seeing the RV crowd, we went down to Florida. And they're all old people. Like, kind of worried if they should even be driving. Like, you go down and you see all these old people in Florida, and it's not very inspiring, to be honest with you. Like, we were down there in Florida, and some of these places we stayed in Florida, you would see people that would pull in, these old folks that would pull in, and they basically didn't even leave the RV park, right? You know, they would pull in, they stayed at the RV park. You'd be like, hey, so have you guys done any hiking? Right. But what we don't realize is you get out of that, and you get to the west, and you get to some of these other areas, and there's a lot of cool people just wandering around doing the RV thing because they can, in whatever way. And so if you've not thought about the RV thing, it's really a pretty good deal, especially if you're going to stay for a long time. So if you stay for like a night, it gets expensive. So like one night is anywhere between, let's say, $25 to normally about $50. So we're out here outside of Chicago. It costs us about $60 a night here. So per night, it's a little pricey. But if you stay for a week, the prices usually drop by a third. So you go from, let's say, $50 per night down to like $250 per week. But then what's amazing is if you're willing to spend this a month some places, it then goes from $250 a week to like $400 for a month, right? So the price really drops down. And what you also have to realize is you don't pay for electricity, you don't pay for water, you don't pay for all these little utility bills. So it's really overall not a bad deal. Again, you do have to get truck, and you do have to get a trailer to do it. But even with that, like, I mean, you know, you guys know me. I mean, I went out and bought a brand new F-150, brand new trailer. But again, you don't have to do brand new. Basically, you just need a truck that can haul about 10,000 pounds. So there's a tow weight. Whenever you go get these vehicles, they have tow weights. So you want 10,000 pounds. Don't do less than 10. Don't do less than 10,000 pounds. So you need to go out and you need to find a truck that can haul 10,000 pounds. Tow 10,000 pounds. And then you go out and you find a travel trailer. Well, the thing is, I mean, these trucks, when you go out to buy a truck that can actually haul something, I mean, there's a lot of these trucks out there. And the thing is, with trucks, they're not quite like cars, where you have to have the latest and greatest car. Like, if you have a brand new car, you can tell it's new versus a 15-year-old car. A lot of these trucks, I mean, you look at a 15-year-old truck, and you really don't notice the difference. When you go in there, like my new Ford has a whole bunch of bells and whistles, but you don't really need the bells and whistles. So you can go out, you can buy a truck that can haul one of these things. So $5,000 to $10,000, depending on what you want. And then you can go out and buy one of these trailers. If you buy them used, they're really inexpensive. You can get them cheap, again, like $5,000. A lot of people actually basically try to give away their trailers, because here's the one quirk if you ever go out and buy a trailer, is if you go and buy a new trailer and trade in your old trailer, that's a really easy process. So that's what we did when we bought our new trailer. We traded in the old trailer, got a discount on our new trailer, walked away. Here's a weird thing. Here's the thing with the travel trailer business, is if you simply have a travel trailer that used travel trailer that you want to sell, the dealerships don't take them. It's not that they give you a really bad payment value. It's that they won't take them at all. Like my new travel trailer, well, it's new, but if you take like a 4-year-old travel trailer and you take it to a dealership and you say, what will you give me for it? They will say, get off our lot. They won't even give you anything. Like, again, it's not even that they'll give you a bad trade-in value. They won't even give you $100. Basically, put it on Craigslist or take it to the dump type of deal. So if you're interested in this, you can go out. And there's a lot of used trailers out there. Again, you can buy good, nice ones for $5,000 or less. So if you're thinking about this lifestyle, truly, for about $10,000 down payment, if you're good with dealing with a truck and all that, you can actually do this. And it's really pretty nice. And again, the RV parks that have good internet access have good internet access. It's one of those things, like, when you go to RV parks, when it comes to when it comes to internet access, there's no real middle ground with the internet access. It's either really good or it's garbage. And there's a lot of RV parks out there that are really good. So if you need internet access, and you don't need to upload gigs, I mean, that's my problem with these videos, is, again, there's a difference between having to upload 30 gigs of video versus having to upload a couple pages of script code, right? And so a lot of these RV parks would be fine. Like, if you're a programmer, you're a content creator that doesn't do video, you want to go out, you want to be on the road, it's a good way to be. We're liking it. We're liking it. In all seriousness, like I say, we still have our house. We still own our house. We still own our house outright. And yeah, but yeah, I think we're going to go back in February or March of next year. We're going to patch up all the holes and we're going to put it on the market. Because again, this life, and this is something to think about just as you go in your life and what you're trying to accomplish in the world, is living out of a trailer that is literally smaller than my master bedroom. Not exaggerated. Not exaggerating, not a joke. The entire trailer I live in right now is smaller than my master bedroom. And I am much happier this way. I really and it's just one of those things to think about, like with whatever you're planning with your life, is maybe the normal route isn't the thing to do. You know, like everybody thinks, I want the big house, I want this, I want that. And yeah, I don't know. I like having nice neighbors. I like being able to literally change the scenery. Hey dear, I'm getting bored with the scenery. Let's go 1,000 miles and see something different. Okay. So yeah, RV, this is a nice life. And again, like I say, I'm only 38, so you don't have to be like an old geezer to be getting into it. It's a pretty good little thing. And again, it's like I say, it's much more affordable than you realize. Again, if you go out and you buy the brand new stuff and you stay at the best RV parks, it gets expensive quick. But again, like I say, is if you're willing to do it like more budgety, really, like 10 grand and residual income, and you can go out there and do this. It's nice. It is. I mean, it's just so cool. Like when we were in Denver, we were right on like the main bike trail that could take you into Denver. You know, we've been on the beach. Yeah, anyways. Again, as I said, I'm probably blathering at this point. I apologize. But I figure you guys are just so desperate to hear me talk that maybe you'll deal with my blathering for a little bit. But yeah, so that's about it. Not going to go into Chicago. So we were slightly outside of Chicago. Chicago is one of those towns that doesn't have any RV parks in it. And so all the RV parks are seriously 50 miles outside of Chicago. And so you add in 50 miles and traffic, and it turns into like an hour and a half to get into Chicago itself. So we're not actually going to get into Chicago. I'm just going to stay out here at this little RV park until we pick up and leave. But yeah, good times. So as far as Silicon Trailer goes, if you guys want to meet me, if you're like, yeah, I want to meet Eli, mosquitoes. The next Silicon Trailer will be in Rhinebeck, New York. So we are, don't ask me why, we are going to be in Rhinebeck, New York for a week, June 30th, 2015 to whatever, July 6th, 2015, if this been a while. So if you're interested, you want to sit down, you want to chat about whatever, I'll be more than happy to sit down and chat. We will be in Rhinebeck, New York, and then after Rhinebeck, New York, we'll be down in Johnstown, Pennsylvania for a week. Again, I'm willing to do the Silicon Trailer essentially whenever we stop somewhere for a week. So we'll be in Johnstown, Pennsylvania for a week. I don't even know where the hell Johnstown. It's like, where's Johnstown, Pennsylvania? It's like there. Where's Rhinebeck, New York? There. Rhinebeck, New York is there, and Johnstown is there. Right? So we'll be there from July 7th or whatever to a week after that about. So somewhere like July 13th, July 14th. From there, we are probably going to be going down to Baltimore. So I will be back in Baltimore for a week because we have to do paperwork. Since we bought the truck and trailer in Colorado, I have to get them tagged in Maryland. Thankfully, we have 60 days. We have 2 months to get that done. So I will be in Baltimore-ish, July 15th or so to something-eth. So we can do that, so I can meet them, and then after that, we shall see. We're going to go up north. So I think once we do Baltimore, then we're going to shoot up north. We're going to go in the Adirondacks. You know where the Adirondacks are? Fabulous place to be. And then from the Adirondacks, probably the Northeast, I'm thinking. Like Acadia. If you've never been to Acadia, Acadia's fabulous. So we'll go to like Acadia and like the Boston area. Might be there for a little while. Then from there, go into Canada, go up to Nova Scotia. And then go across, we're thinking, and then drop down into Seattle and then Portland and that. So that is our thought process right now. We'll see how it goes. Again, it may change because it really doesn't matter because we've got a truck and we have a trailer and I have residual income. So it means, who knows? Maybe we'll go back to Florida or maybe, lots of mosquitoes. Maybe we'll do something else. Do not know. But anyways, the mosquitoes are trying to gobble me now. So I'm going to go back. For any of you guys that are curious about Tonto, because I know Tonto has his own little fan club right now, Tonto's still trucking along. So if you don't know, Tex died. Some people don't realize that Tex died. Tex died before we left, about a month or so before we left. He had sclerosis of damn near every organ in his body. Basically, he woke up one morning and was in a lot of pain. We took him in, they opened him up, and they went, holy crap, all his organs are rotted. So that was January, so he died. And then, sadly, right after that, we found that Tonto has bone cancer in the skull. which actually isn't as bad as it sounds, because I guess bone cancer, when most animals get bone cancer, they get it in the appendage, and so when they get it in the appendage, the problem is it makes the appendage brittle, and at some point it just shatters. Really horrible. Not only does it shatter, but then most of the time the cancer spreads to the lungs. So bone cancer normally is just brutal and horrible and just evil in 9 different ways. The weird thing with Tonto is he has it in the skull. So he's got the big old ears and whatever. He's got the tumor right there on his skull. And so the thing is, though, since the skull doesn't actually support any weight, he doesn't really have to worry about it shattering the way they normally would with an appendage. And it hasn't spread to his lungs. So he was having some issues with not eating. So we took him to a vet, and they did an x-ray like a week ago. So we were in Denver, when we were still in Denver. And 5 months into this, there's still nothing in his lungs. So he's still trucking along. Every once in a while he won't eat. It's really weird. It's kind of weird with Tonto. Like, he's trucking along fine, and then he stops eating, and then we have to tweak his food. But he's still going strong. He's still going strong. He's on steroids. So is he on steroids? He's on narcotics, and he's on a little appetite booster right now. But otherwise, I mean, he's not on chemo. He's not on radiation. He's not on anything like extreme. So he's just trotting along, doing his little thing. Who knows? He has been a lesson in life. He has been a true lesson in life, with how you have absolutely no idea how tomorrow will be. Because we have thought we were going to have to put him down like 3 times now. I mean, not a joke. So before we even left, he got really lethargic and stopped eating. So that was over 3 months ago, right? And we're like, oh, we're going to have to put him down. And then they gave him like a med, and they started eating again. It was fine. And then when we were in New Mexico, up in Silver City, he stopped eating and had really bad diarrhea and all that. And we're like, oh, okay, it's finally time. And then the doctor gave him some med, and they started eating again. And then we were in Denver, and again, because he stopped eating. Like, he had barely eaten for like 3 days, like a little bit of food, and then the day before he took him to the vet, he didn't eat anything at all. So he even stopped pooping. Like, he ate so little, he even stopped pooping. So we're, that's kind of the, where's the line with the dog where you put him down? It's when they stop eating, really. So we took him to the vet, and he looked healthy. It's like he looked healthy enough, but he wasn't eating. So we're like, and so literally that morning we thought we might have to put him down. Or it might be time to put him down, I suppose. And they said, well, here's a couple of meds, and one of them was this appetite stimulant. And we gave him the appetite stimulant, and now he's been eating food. So, yeah, Tonto is like, hey, what's going on in life? I have no idea. Tonto, are we alive today? Yay! So yeah, he's still trucking along. The doctors originally gave us 4 to 6 months. So that was like February, right? So February, March, April, May. We're in June. That's about 5 months. We're about to be in July. So we're somewhere near the 5 or 6 month mark. Still trucking along pretty well. So who knows? One dog we think is doing completely and utterly perfectly fine. And then out of the blue, we end up having to put him down. And then the other dog, who has bone cancer, that is fatal, terminal, screw you, bone cancer, and he keeps toddling along for months and 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 months. That is not a life lesson. I'm not sure what is. Anyways, with that, I think it's lunchtime now. I think it is lunchtime. So I'm going to go have some food. I will see you guys later. I think next time we'll talk about like In Motion or Lincoln, Nebraska or something like that. Anyways.